Hey, it's Vaz here from Aussie RC Playground and welcome to another episode of RC Pit Stop. Today we are in the pits with my Kraton V4 and I'm going to be showing you how to install this Proline Brute Basher armor body on your Kraton V4. And you might be wondering, wait, I need instructions on how to install a body on my car? Well, typically no, you don't need instructions. This is a pretty straightforward thing. However, with this particular body, there are a couple of things that you do need to do in order to install it onto your V4 Kraton, perhaps even some of the other Kratons as well. So first of all, let's establish what this body is. It's not pre-painted. For those of you who haven't seen these bodies up close, these aren't painted bodies. This is the actual color of the plastic. So this isn't painted at all. This is how it is. So you can't actually paint them. I mean, I suppose you can try and paint them on the outside, but then the paint's just going to flake off when you scratch up and so forth. And Proline's actually done a really good job in the design of this because it's got a lot of vertical lines. It's got a lot of stiffness, a lot of rigid design. These things are super tough, very strong bodies. They are designed specifically for bashing. They are a little bit heavier obviously than your typical body. You know, you can't really paint these up, so for those of you that out there who are really no good at painting or can't really be bothered, considering that you're just going to bash the body anyway, I've heard a lot of comments like that in the past. You know, this might be the perfect solution for you. You might pay a little bit more for it, but it's super durable. It's pre-done. You just got to add your stickers on it and away you go. You can go out there and have some fun. So the body itself is this one here. That's the part number there, and it actually says that it is for the Kraton. However, it doesn't specify which version of Kraton we're talking about here. So we're now up to the V4s. Obviously, there's 3 previous versions to this, and I think the last 2, maybe even all the way back to the V1, the body posts were different to the way that they are now in the V4s. So when Arrma released this car, they updated the body posts to be adjustable. They stick out a little bit further. I think this is the rear one, so it sticks out a bit further from the rear and so forth. I mean, they've put a little bit more thought into it, and you know, they look quite different to what the original body posts were, which were these, and these were non-adjustable. They were a little bit smaller, and although, you know, they did the job, they were fine. Arrma have definitely sort of stepped it up a little bit and given us something a bit better. So this body, I think, because it comes pre-cut and pre-drilled for the body posts, I think this was done for the previous versions, not for the V4s, which means that in order to fit it on the V4, you got to change out your body posts. You got to go back to the V3s or the V2 body posts, which were the, oops, almost dropped it, which were these guys here. Now, I already did that on mine. I had some spare body posts and I've installed them on there, so nothing too special, but there are some problems regarding the holes, the pre-drilled holes that Proline have provided on this body. Now, the problem isn't so much from, you know, east to west, I guess you'd call it. So width-wise, the body posts, you know, the holes are fine. The problem is the distance between the rear and the front body post, and you can already see that I've already marked this out, how I'm going to be dremeling this out to make this body fit. So I got to go a little bit elongated on the front here, which I suppose, you know, if you look at the actual original Arrma bodies, there is one that is always a little bit elongated. I think originally Arrma used to do them on the rear, and then they left the rear round and they actually started elongating them on the front. So that's what I'm going to be doing it with. That's what I'm going to be doing with this guy. Now there is one more problem that we need to address here as well, and that's these rear cutouts. So these body posts, the way that they sit, so this is the rear body post, it's actually supposed to sit in here like that, and then these little grooves you can see are supposed to go over the actual body post like so. So it sits like that, all right? So you can see how that works. Now you can see that I've already marked this out. These aren't centered properly to where the holes are. So I was trying to fit the body on and I'm like, why isn't the body going down? I also widened these holes using a body reamer, and I still couldn't get the body to sit down. And then eventually I caught on that it was actually hitting the back of the post. So I got to Dremel this out over here, Dremel out a little bit on this side as well. I got to elongate these holes, and then hopefully the body will fit 100%. Now, one final thing as well is the body is incredibly snug around the chassis. So if you're trying to fit this on, you're going to need to sort of open the body up a little bit and then just get it to sit on the actual truck. So otherwise it's actually going to sit inside the chassis. So I don't know why Proline did it this way. I think it's a little bit weird. I might actually hit this up with the heat gun and maybe open it up and just flex it out a little bit, just so that I'm not always, kind of pulling it apart to get it to sit on the chassis itself. It's just little things like this. Now there is a clear version of this that you can actually paint up, and I do have one of those as well. I'll be doing a video on that one at a later stage, but for now I think all I'm going to do is fix this up, do the stickers, and then I'll come back and show you, if everything worked out all right or not, or if I have to go and get myself another body. We'll see if I don't manage to stuff this one up. All right, back in a sec. Right, so there we are all done. So I elongated my holes, I trimmed out the back here for the body posts, and I also heated up the side of the body a little bit and widened it out so that it would actually fit over the chassis. Despite me doing all of that, I still had one more problem, which I hadn't, I didn't know that it existed. And that is to do with the actual roll cage here. So the roll cage, when these come mounted on these cars, they're actually mounted at their highest point. And I actually lowered mine, and it still didn't fix the problem. And the problem was, as you can see, there's these two big ridges, and these supports here are supposed to be on either side of these ridges, right? So they're supposed to sit in here. So one on that side and one on that side. And they were actually hitting this lower part of the body. So what I ended up doing is I heated up the plastic and I actually bent these back a little bit just so that, it would actually sit on the body properly. So after I did that, look at this. It sits on there perfectly. If I can line up the holes, that'd be great. So it sits on there perfect, and it doesn't jiggle around or anything like that. Now these bodies are a little bit thicker than the norm, and I was actually worried about body pins being a bit of a problem and putting them into the posts, but not the case at all. They fit perfectly. I'm just going to be using standard body pins for now. I may or may not put the little tethers on. They're really hard to put on, and I'm not really looking forward to drilling these out and putting them on here, to be honest with you. I'm quite happy to just put normal body pins for now. So we'll go with that. So that pretty much wraps it up for this RC Pit Stop update on the Kraton V4. It's ready to go to the big BMX track and get a couple of send-offs. This car, of course, I haven't had the chance to drive it since I replaced the chassis and did all the upgrades on this thing. We've got quite a number of upgrades on this. Just a reminder, I have the hinge pin braces, the chassis braces. I've got the aluminium servo mount in here as well. There's also the steering anchorman from GKA. All of these, awesome little upgrades. And now, of course, with the body on here, it just tops it off. It's the little cherry on top. And I'm really looking forward to running this thing and just seeing what it can do. So that's where I'm going to leave this RC Pit Stop video. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll be speaking to you all next time.